Hi, Drew Embury with P&L Technology here, and our video tip today is how to do a mail merge. Mail merges are great, and we get questions quite often on how to do this properly. It's not very hard, but if you've never done it before, it can be confusing. What a mail merge can do for you is allow you to send something like a written letter or an email to somebody and personalize it, perhaps with their first name, to put their address in it, and incorporate other information directly into the letter to personalize the experience. So the first thing you want to do when doing a mail merge is to find out what your source data is. So the source data could be a database, it could be a Microsoft Excel file, it could be Microsoft Outlook contacts. Any of these things will work. So most of our clients have their source data in a CRM system, a customer relations management system that they use. And frequently these have an export feature where you can export the contacts that you want to send that communication to something like a Microsoft Excel file. So that's what I've done today. So I'm going to go ahead and open this Microsoft Excel file, and you can see I've got a list of users here that I want to send my communication to, and with their first name, last name, address, city, state, and zip. You'll notice I also have headers on the data, which if you can get the headers, which is that first line in bold that states what it is, it'll save you some time in mapping that. If you can't get the headers, that's no problem. You can still do that manually. So what I'm going to do for my mail merge next is I'm going to start Microsoft Word. And I'm going to go here to the Mailings tab. And then here you'll see the Start Mail Merge feature. So I'm going to go ahead and start the mail merge, and I'm going to choose to do a letter. That's going to go ahead and open up my letter that I can start to customize. So what I'm going to want to do now is I'm going to want to select the recipients that I want to email to. So if you remember that Excel file that I showed you a few minutes ago, we're going to go ahead and use an existing list, and we're going to point it to that Excel file. So there's my mail merge contacts. And we're going to go ahead and tell it, yes, my first row of data does contain the column headers, and click OK. And it's essentially loaded up that Excel file now for me to use. So at this point now, I can do something like insert an address block. So I'll go ahead and click the address block, and there you can see a preview of what's being read from that file. So I can go ahead and select through that and make sure that it's coming up properly and how I want my address block to look. If I wasn't able to get headers and I need to match fields, I can click this Match Fields function and go ahead and make sure that the first name equals the first name, the last name equals the last name, and so on. So if I need to make some changes there, I can easily do that. I'll go ahead and click OK there, and then you'll notice it's put a little, what we call a slug in there, called address block. So that's going to print that address block that I just previewed a few minutes ago into my file as I print it. So to go ahead and continue to complete my letter here, I do want to add a greeting line now. So now here you see greeting line. I'm going to go ahead and click that, and it's going to open up the Insert Greeting Line wizard. So I do want the first word to be dear, as you can see is already completed here, but I want it to be a little bit more personal than their full name. I want it to just be their first name. So I can go ahead and select the drop down here to include just their first name. And instead of a comma, since this is a business letter, I want to use the colon. So I will do that. There's also a catch-all here, so just in case you have an area of your file that doesn't have the first or last name, it's going to replace Dear Sir or Madam in there, and you can customize that if you want to as well. Again, I can then use the preview here to see all the different things in my file and how that looks, just to make sure that's working properly, and click OK. Again, now it has my slug in there, greeting line, which will put that customized greeting line. I can now compose the body of my message. So I'll just put a little blurb in here. Okay, so I've got a basic letter here. What we can do now is go ahead and, if we want to, click this Preview Results. That'll open up a previewer, and again, we can then now preview our entire letter. So here we see our address block, we see our heading, and we see our body of our message, and then our completion. And I can scroll through those here to make sure those look good. I can also then, when I'm finished previewing those, go to the Finish and Merge, and I can either print those directly here. I could send them as an email if I'd rather send it as an email, or I could edit the individual documents if I wanted to add a personal note. That can be kind of handy, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Now we've got the individual documents, and they're printed one by one. So I could go in here and put a personal note that I wanted just to go to Andrew, or I could go to a personal note that I wanted to go to Sean Baxter, and personalize it that way. When I'm done now, I could just click the print button and have those printed out. So that's really it. If you wanted to send those as an email, of course, your source data would have to have the email address in, which the one I showed you earlier today didn't. But other than that, it's really the exact same thing. More advanced users could actually hook this up directly to their CRM database, so they wouldn't have to do the export step. But most of the people we work with use this just on a kind of an ad hoc basis, and are able to export to an Excel file and then use that from there. So I hope this video has been helpful for you today. If you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call.